Imagine sinking into the Gobi Desert sand, only to be ambushed by a creature that has no eyes, no discernible mouth, and can kill you with a single, scorching spray of acid from 50 feet away. This is not a myth. Visual worm ambush thumbnail. This is the Mongolian death worm, the cryptid. So lethal, its local name means intestine worm because it brings the bowels of the earth with it. With a visual map of Gobi Desert, but the Mongolian death worm is not just a campfire story. For the nomads of the Gobi, the Olgoi-khorkhoi is a deadly reality. Still today, Western explorers risk their lives trying to prove that this horrifying creature is real. But how does a creature with no eyes and no discernible mouth manage to hunt and kill its prey? In this deep dive, we will first reveal the most shocking eyewitness accounts from the Gobi Desert, investigate the mysterious science behind its deadly acid and electrical attacks, and finally uncover what modern cryptozoologists have almost found in their dangerous hunts. To understand this monster, we must return to the 1920s. Western interest was ignited by the famed American paleontologist, visual image of Roy Chapman Andrews. Roy Chapman Andrews, the real-life inspiration for Indiana Jones. Andrews led expeditions into the hostile Gobi Desert, but he never actually saw the worm. Instead, he heard persistent, chilling rumors from local officials and nomadic herdsmen. In his 1926 book, On the Trail of Ancient Man, Andrews made a terrifying claim. In certain areas, there was a terrible thing living under the sand that regularly killed animals and their owners. The mystery deepened because the claims were publicly confirmed by the highest authority. Jokhan's Kutudet Sotnam in Damdin Bazaar, visual image of Mongolian Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of Mongolia himself. The Prime Minister publicly endorsed the monster's existence. He described it bluntly. It is shaped like a sausage about 2 feet long, has no head nor leg, and it is so poisonous that merely to touch it means instant death. It lives in the most desolate parts of the Gobi Desert. This confirmation caused an absolute sensation. Suddenly, the focus wasn't just on folklore, but on a potential new species. The Gobi itself became a character in the story of vast, unknown territory covering over 500,000 square miles, where only the toughest nomads dared to go. The great unknown had a monster living beneath its surface. To understand the terror of this cryptid, we must look at its shocking weaponry. The creature's local name, visual animation, large intestine worm. Text Olgoi-khorkhoi translates terrifyingly to large intestine worm. It is often described as a thick, dark red, segmented sausage, up to 2 feet long, with no visible eyes or head. But its appearance is not what makes it lethal. It is its arsenal. Nomadic accounts describe 2 distinct horrifying methods of attack. Weapon 1, the acid spray, the primary method of killing, and the one that cemented its legend is the spitting of venom. The worm can reportedly spray a jet of highly corrosive acid from a distance of up to 50 feet. Visual worm spitting acid melting metal. Any contact is said to cause instant death, and the acid is so strong it can visibly corrode metal. This is the danger you see in our thumbnail, the shocking chemical defense of a creature that has nowhere to run. Weapon 2, the electrical pulse. If the acid wasn't enough, the death worm is also reported to have the uncanny ability to generate a powerful electric charge. Witnesses claim the worm can emit a surge strong enough to instantly paralyze or kill a large camel or human, often striking them while still buried beneath the sand. It is an apex predator that combines chemical warfare with a localized lightning strike. But what allows a creature of the desert to generate such a massive surge? Cryptozoologists have speculated that the worm possesses a complex electric organ. Visual diagram of electric organ zap effect similar to the ones found in electric eels or rays. Deep within its massive, segmented body, specialized cells called electrocyte scud rapidly generate and store current. The creature wouldn't need to physically touch its prey. Instead, it would use the damp sand after a rainstorm as a conductor, sending a high-voltage shock wave through the ground. The result is instant, paralyzing shock, leaving the victim helpless for the chemical warfare to begin. The good news is that the worm is rarely seen. It is believed to hibernate most of the year, emerging mostly in the hot months of June and July to feed. While it prefers a local desert plant called goyo, if food is scarce, it will ambush anything that crosses its path. So, is the death worm just a monster of the mind? Since the 1990s, the hunt has been led by determined cryptozoologists. The most obsessed was the Czech investigator Ivan Mackerle. Mackerle led 3 separate expeditions to the Gobi. He theorized the worm was only half a meter long, was blood red, and could indeed deliver venom and an electric shock. His search was intense, using specialized cameras and even explosive charges, but he always came up empty-handed. Mackerle's expeditions were anything but conventional. He wasn't relying on simple binoculars and tents. He employed extreme methods. His team used specialized cameras, and on at least one occasion, they even attempted to flush the worm out by exploding parts of the desert. He hoped the seismic shock would force the creature to the surface, but the Gobi refused to give up its secret. A few years later, Richard Freeman's team from the British Centre for Fortean Zoology followed a similar, desperate path. They didn't use explosives, but they tried to flood and dam streams, hoping to use the creature's alleged weakness to water and salt against it. Despite these intensive, almost military-level searches, the worm remained a terrifying ghost in the Gobi. Visual image of cryptozoology expedition. In the mid-2000s, the British Centre for Fortean Zoology, led by Richard Freeman, followed Mackerle's footsteps. They interviewed scores of locals who swore they had seen the worm, yet Freeman's team also went home without a body or a photograph. Though the worm remained elusive, the question remains, if you were to meet the Olgoi-khorkhoi, could you survive? According to local accounts, the terrifying creature has one critical weakness: water and salt. Nomads often claim the worm is instantly repulsed by water and that salt is instantly lethal. This is why some expeditions tried to flush it out using floodwater, visual water and salt over sand, hoping to force it to the surface where it couldn't use the sand as cover. What then is the truth? After all the searches, it is highly likely that the Mongolian death worm is a real animal, but one that has been massively exaggerated over centuries. Visual, stealthy, legless lizard or viper. Cryptozoologists propose the most likely candidate is a large venomous snake or a legless lizard. The creature's name was never worm in the original Mongolian, it was simply a creature that looked like one. Over time, fear and word of mouth transformed a terrifying desert snake into a giant acid-spitting electric monster. Visual explosion or water trap animation. While the science still searches, the legend of the Mongolian death worm remains one of the world's most horrifying forgotten mysteries. If you want to continue unearthing the world's most terrifying forgotten creatures and ancient lore, make sure you subscribe to Forgotten Scroll Mysteries and turn on notifications.